What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents podcast where I discuss all things music. And today on my show, I have Leo McClain of Worm Shepard on my show today. And man, this is a good conversation, man, because it's a different aspect, man. He's only 17 years old. He attends a performing arts school and is extremely gifted. So this is a good conversation. He lives in New York. And if you guys don't know anything about Worm Shepard is kind of broken up into a few different states. You got Devin in Mass, you've got Ryan and Brandon in Connecticut, and you have Leo in New York. So this is a good conversation, man, to get to know a little more about Leo, where Leo comes from, and, everything that he loves about being in Worm Shepard, which is really awesome, man. But before we get started with today's show, man, I gotta let you guys know, man, if you guys have show ideas or you want to be a guest on my show, hit me up on Twitter at Podcast of Blue, Facebook and Instagram, Blue Presents a Podcast, man. And just thank you guys. I appreciate everyone who's been showing support, everyone who's left a comment, anyone who said anything nice to me about what we're doing. I really, really greatly appreciate it, man. And, love the feedback. And, you can give me feedback too. Any of those social medias, man. Like I said, I greatly appreciate everything and everyone who's reaching out to me. But before we get started with today's show, man, listen to my boy AJ Pelletier tell you why you should listen to the Roads We've Traveled podcast.
Hey everyone, AJ Pelletier here, and I'm here to talk to you about my podcast, The Roads We've Traveled. It's a podcast where every week I talk to guests and friends from music, art, comedy, and more about their journeys through life, their struggles, their joys, and everything in between. You also get to know a little bit more about me and my journey as well. So if you like podcasts about good conversations about life, or maybe you're just looking to relate to somebody about some things you may be going through as well, then The Roads We've Traveled is the podcast for you. Subscribe to us today on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out and subscribe to us on YouTube. And check us out at Facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled podcast. All right, everyone. Thanks.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today on the Zoom, I have Leo McClain, or McClain. I'm already messing it up, so this is going to be a great interview, guys. Sit back and relax. We're going to have fun. And if everyone's like, who's Leo? Leo is the drummer of Worm Shepard. And that's right. I've completed it. I have had every single member of Worm Shepard on my show. What's going on, Leo?
Nothing much. I'm doing good. As good as I can.
All right.
With everything going on.
Heck yeah, Leo. Leo, you're in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York City.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of scary, especially right about now. How's life during this adjustment? Let's call it that.
It's been good. I mean, I'm a kid, so I don't really have to worry about too much in regards to financial things. Like, I do drums as my job. Okay. So that's really just stayed the same. Like, sometimes offers come, and there's been a little bit more now because everybody's at home. So, yeah, I've been doing all right.
All right, man. So I'm going to hit you with my first question of my show, which is, what are your top 5 artists, man?
For me, Jesus, it's gonna be so strange here in this company. I would say for my metal influences, it would have to be like self-titled era Slipknot, like when the first, I think it was in 1999 it came out. Mm-hmm. So it would be self-titled era Slipknot, Infant Annihilator, and probably either Thy Art Is Murder or just anything from 2009 metalcore.
Yep, so we got 3 there, man. What are your other 2?
And then for just drumming in general, I think probably Parliament Funkadelic. Oh, okay. As well as what was it called? Paris Combo.
Oh, okay. I have, obviously I know Parliament, but the other one, you're going to have to educate me on that one. Who are those guys?
Paris Combo is a French group that I used to listen to a lot when I was 8 or 9. I think my mom could definitely explain it better. But they're like a French group, and they're kind of like they're kind of like a blend of a bunch of different genres.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to listen to like it so much, like on my old Walkman,
Okay.
and that definitely played a role in like how I listen to rhythms.
Okay. So, once again, my podcast is about a journey into music, man. I think you have a very interesting situation because, like you said, drumming is your job. And if I'm not mistaken right now, you're in New York because you're attending school to be a drummer, or am I kind of right? Or you go to school to a predominantly like a music school is why, drumming is your job.
So basically, I go to a weird high school. Like it's not even a high school per se. It's just it's a private school, but it's like middle and high school. So there's a bunch of like kids, and then the school itself is like there's core values and everything. Like there's core stuff that you do, like where you have like your math and your science and your government classes or history or whatnot. But then there's like electives. There's like so many electives you can choose from. Like in like a normal school, I think there's like maybe 8 electives, but my school has like it's like maybe like 30.
God damn. Sorry about that.
So I'm in I think I'm about to go into my senior year, so I'm about to go into I think advanced music theory and like more recording art stuff. So for my electives, I studied music theory and recording arts, like mixing and whatnot, because the music teacher, he's like my favorite dude. He's like so good at what he does, and he doesn't listen to metal, but he tells me about his like Deftones and like System of a Down days, and like lets me kind of just go wild in terms of recording stuff.
That's awesome, man. So would you say this is more of like a performing arts type of school? Is this more of a, and you say private school, so I'm assuming your parents are probably, or you're having to pay some type of tuition and whatnot. So, what type of, is this like a performing arts school basically is what I'm asking? Cause I actually have a question that goes with it in the sense of seeing as I'm sure, I don't know, maybe you had to audition for this school at some point or another?
No, it's you just pay you pay to go there, and I would say the school is more like you take your own direction on how you want to learn things.
Wow. Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you, man?
17.
Wow, man. I'm telling you, man, this new age of artist is definitely, with Devin only being 19, finding out that you're only 17, that's crazy. But that's awesome, man. It just speaks to ability. Certain people just have natural talent, and I think that's cool that and I don't know if, like, is this something your parents pushed you towards, saying, hey, you should go to the school if you want to be better at drumming? Or what was the process of getting to the school, if you don't mind me asking?
The school was kind of like a send from heaven for me.
Okay.
Because I've been to a bunch of other high schools and I didn't do well. Like I would get into arguments with people all the time, and I would almost get into fights with them because I had like a really bad temper problem, and I was having a whole bunch of mental problems going on at the time.
Yeah, man.
And then my parents heard about the school, and they're just like, yeah, you should definitely check this out. And I have never gone to an actual school tour unless it's just like, maybe it's like a college. And I remember them saying the school has a drum set, and I was like, I'm sold, we're going.
That's cool, man. I mean, it just kind of, that's cool, man, that your parents cared to, see something within you and say, hey, man, we think you should go in this direction. And that's awesome, man. And like I said, that's awesome they recognized. So how did you get into drumming, man? How did you know that beating on a drum was something you wanted to do for a living?
it's such a complicated question. I got my first drum set when I was probably 3 or 2 years old.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to play at all. So I'm pretty sure my parents signed me up for lessons, but I have no idea who it was with. And then I cooled off for a little bit. I would still play like every now and then, but I cooled off until I was about like 8 years old. And oh yeah, even before I got a drum set, my parents loved to tell the story of how they would put on I don't know what song it was, but like even as like a toddler or whatever, I would like sway to the rhythm of songs and be in time with it. So I guess that was kind of like foretelling what was going to happen in the future.
Yeah, man. Kids feel music in a different way, man. I know even with I have a 9-year-old, and there's certain times where I wouldn't say he's like a huge fan of music, but there's certain times where you can definitely tell a certain note has hit him in a particular way because he feels it. He like almost like you said sways to it. You know, he almost like feels it in a way where it feels natural to him. And that's cool, man. Once again, you know, your parents seem to be noticing something about you and just letting you be you, man. That's awesome, man. So since you were talking about that, man, talk about your parents a little bit, man. It sounds like your parents are supportive, you know, and that's awesome, especially when you're the age that you are, you know, at 17, you know, sometimes at this point, you know, we're butting heads with our parents and stuff like that. It sounds like your parents are like really strong and behind you like that.
Yeah, my parents, I don't know how my parents put up with me, but like I've definitely put them through a lot. And so, well, pretty much a lot of people in my family are very musically inclined. Like my aunt is an opera singer. My late grandmother was a pianist, and my mother played piano and the violin. So I would say that they knew I was going to have some sort of skill, but you can never know for sure. And both my parents did ballet dancing, so they're in the industry in some way. So I guess it was kind of destined to be it. And they've really always supported me with it. So when things came around, if I was just like, I'm going to play drums, and they're just like, we'll get you a drum set. And then it kind of moved into, I want to play guitar. And then they bought me a guitar. So they just kind of followed me wherever I wanted. And it was great.
No, that's cool, man. So in talking with that, what do they think about what you listen to, man? Because it sounds like, you know, they probably come from a very classical background, you know, ballet. There's a lot of like, you know, operas and classical music that goes with that. So what do they think, or have they heard anything that you've done or some of the things that you're just into musically when it comes to metal?
Well, my parents, I wouldn't say they enjoy it, but they can tolerate it. Yeah, they can tolerate it, but they don't enjoy it. So like you said, since they listen to a lot of classical music, when we were like driving in the car, like I'm used to hearing like Bach and like Beethoven and whatnot all the time. So like sometimes like there'll be like heavier tracks that come on, like some punk tracks, and like now that I know how to drive, I'll be like, I remember I said to my dad one day, I'm just gonna blast metal in the car, and he was like, not in this car. So that's kind of their thing about metal.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's gotta be interesting, because I don't, you know, sometimes. And I don't think your parents are like that. They seem like they're extremely supportive of you. But sometimes you have like that elitist opinion because they listen to what a lot of people call a superior brand of music. And when you really think about it, a lot of people say, you know, listening to classical music expands your mind, which classical music can be amazing. It has dramatic points. It has, you know, time signatures that are different than what you hear. But if a lot of people really think about it, metal is kind of a more aggressive version of classical music. If you really listen to some of like the more technical side of metal, you can kind of see the influence of classical music. So I don't know, man. It just seems, they seem like they're supportive of you either way, even though they may not enjoy what you blare. Because I'm sure, they hear that "Thy Art Is Murder" track, they're gonna be like, "The hell is going on here?"
Yeah, I heard that song when I was probably like 14, and
Yeah.
I didn't stop listening to it for like a year. So they definitely heard that.
Oh my God, yeah. And I mean, I think back to my mom, and my mom's just a regular, person. I just remember her kind of telling me, "Yeah, I'm not cool with this. Not cool with this at all." So I'm imagining them just kind of having that, that taste for a different style of music and whatnot. So, and that being said, man, and like I said, that's awesome that either way they're supportive of you. So let's talk about something else, man. Let's talk about, not only are you into metal and your parents are into classical music, but as a person of color, that's very interesting that, people of color have different sides, like your parents are clearly into classical music, which some people would be like, what's that about? You know what I'm saying? And not realizing that these people, your parents have a different background. Your parents came from a different place, and that's what inspires them. Talk about for yourself how growing up the way that you did and then still ending up in something like metal, which some people who probably listen to classical music probably look down on. You know what I'm saying? And being a person of color, how does that affect you?
Basically, when I first started like going to school, like when I actually became like when I actually started becoming aware of what I can actually do and like started pushing the boundaries a little bit, I used to listen to what is that rapper's name? 50 Cent. Yeah. I used to listen to 50 Cent for a little bit. And it wasn't because like I naturally just searched it up and was just like, this is weird. Let me listen to it.
Yeah.
It was because it was like popular at school.
Yeah.
So I think at that time that's when Drake was starting to really start like heavily like making like really big songs.
Yeah.
So that was popular at the time, and I would listen to it for a little bit, but I found that it was getting stale. Like listening to the same songs over and over on my iPod Nano was just not my thing.
Yeah.
So then it really started to kick off like when I think I joined like School Rock, and then after like buying an Xbox. So before buying an Xbox and then joining School Rock. And like the schools I went to were pretty nice. So nobody really took into account that I was black and listening to like metal and stuff. People would just say, "Oh, he listens to that screaming stuff," and I wouldn't really take it like to a big point where I'd argue about it. Yeah. But the whole reason I got into metal was I would like when I was playing Xbox one day. I think probably like when I was 13 or 12. It was what was the dude's name? His gamer tag was Goldplane something, and I remember hearing like Bullet for My Valentine or Slipknot in the background, and I was just like, wow, this is really catchy. And it was Psychosocial by Slipknot. That's right.
Oh snap!
And I was listening to that, and I was like, wow, this is really catchy. I need to find out what this is. So I heard him playing it over the mic and singing along to it for like another 2 days, and I was like, dude, what is that song? Oh. Actually looked it up, and then listening to that, I got into like self-titled Eyeless and like whatnot, and you know how YouTube recommended works, where you start listening to one thing, it will like show you the most extreme version of it. Yeah.
It's like a rabbit hole. It just kind of opens up, and then YouTube is just like, oh, you like this? We'll take this, and this.
Yeah, so after finding that, then I found Infant Annihilator. So it was, I think the first video I saw was the decapitation fornication video. And I was so young, so I had like no idea what was going on, and all I heard was just blast beat after blast beat, and I was just like, this is a bit off-putting, so I didn't listen to it. Because at that time, I was listening to like Slipknot, like I said, so I was used to like screaming, but I still heard like clean vocals, like melodic in it, so I was still like hooked on that. And then about a year later, I started getting into like actual Infant Annihilator. And then when I actually told people what I listened to at school, the first reaction was, wow, you seem like the least type of person that would actually listen to that. And it was an experience, but nothing has really come up due to my skin color that I listened to this.
I mean, that's cool, man, that you don't have to have those difficulties with that stuff, man, because I remember being in high school, like around like the early 2000s, late 90s, a lot of people just looked at me kind of weird because there was just like, the black kids in my school didn't really like me, and then the Puerto Rican kids, even though a lot of them were related to me, didn't want to be seen with me, because they were just like, who's this kid with the band t-shirts and the big long pants? Or, at the time when I was growing up, we were kind of on the poor side, so a lot of thrift clothes, so I had a lot of like weird matching clothes where I'd like wear a band tee with like burgundy ugly ass pants or something stupid like that and some Converse. So a lot of people just looked at me like, the hell is this dude's problem? He's just I had my headphones on all the time, and a lot of people don't realize that my nickname Blue actually comes from that time in high school, because a lot of times I wore this blue FUBU hoodie and I wore it every single day, and I always had my hood up. I always had my headphones just blaring. You could probably walk by me and hear whatever song I was listening to. That's how loud I had my headphones on. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, the kids in my school didn't know how to get my attention. So they started calling me Blue because of a hoodie.
Yeah, I wish I had a nickname like that. I just go.
No, that's how it started. My mom told a friend of mine it was something else. And then a really close friend of mine, when I was living in Florida, told my ex that my real name was Blue Jeans. I don't know why he told her that, but for some reason he thought that was a good time to make a fucking joke. And for the longest time, I dated her for like 2 weeks, and she said we had like a disagreement about me not knowing her, and I was like, you don't even know what my real name is, and she was like, yeah, it is Blue Jeans. I was like, what? I'm sorry, it's like my own personal dumb story, but I just thought it was hilarious that she with confidence thought my real name was Blue Jeans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to look at someone the same if they said that to me.
Yeah, things went downhill pretty fast. Anyways, so that's cool, man. It sounds like you were able to be yourself in your environment, and you have a nurturing support group, and that's really, really awesome. So let's talk about, man, how did you end up in Worm Shepard? You're all the way in New York.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Devin's in Mass. What do you call it? Ryan and Brandon are in Connecticut. So how did you get into this?
Okay. All right. So this goes back to like December of 2019 when like the Frozen Lake came out.
Ooh.
And my best friend Jonah, we were sitting in our like homework area at school where like kids do homework. So there's like a quiet area where the quiet kids sit, so they don't get disturbed area. And while sitting in the social area, like I said to Jonah, I'm gonna go look at Slam Worldwide. I haven't heard anything good on there in a while, so check it out. And we looked on there, and I remember just being confused and like also like, wait, this could be something, because I just saw like a dude with long hair and corpse paint, and I was just like, okay. So I clicked on it, and I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, this is fucking heavy.
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a part in the song like where the drums and the guitars are in unison, and it's doing these big floor tom hits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like playing it out loud on my phone, and like Jonah's right next to me. And then he did this low, and I like before that I had never heard someone do that low. It sounds like he's kind of like saying the letter F, but it's just like really low and it's just loud.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Jonah, we just have this involuntary response where we just like raise our arms like where it's like something evil's happening. And as soon as that part came, and as soon as that part came around, we were just like, oh my God, this is God tier. This is going somewhere.
Yeah.
So we heard the rest of the song, and I think it was at maybe like 20,000 or 10,000 views at that point. And I was just like, this is going to blow up. I need to get in contact with this guy. And like the next thing I did is after like hearing that song, I went home and I was just like, dude, I need to be in a band with this guy. This guy's revolutionary. And the guy, Nebula Covers, I don't know his real name.
Yeah.
But his YouTube channel is Nebula Covers. He made that big blaspheming cover back like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing Devin on his page and doing that low, and I was just like, I remember sending that to Jonah and just being like, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found him on Instagram, and I was just like, this is the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had like a revelation moment where I was just being like, okay, this guy's the future. So I hit him up on Instagram and I was like, dude, are you down to do vocals for like my side project?
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of like iffy at first because he has like, well, he's got like projects going on and stuff. And my side project, E-First, we didn't have a vocalist at the time because we were like starting to like actually take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit him up and we had a couple conversations. We had like a phone call, and then he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I explained to him that it was like a studio project and it wasn't going to be a live thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got him on that. And then I'm just chilling for like the next week or two. And I get like a message on Instagram from him, and he's like, can you call me in an hour or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, sure. So I call him and he was like, do you want to play drums for my project? And I was just like, yeah, totally. Just tell me more about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he describes to me, it's like Worm Shepard. It's going to be this big blackened deathcore like unit. Mm-hmm. And he explained a bit more to me, but my memory is just like god awful right now. But
that's fine, man.
But sooner enough later, I said, yeah, I'll totally do it. And I was in, and then like a month later, we started writing for a single, and I threw some drum parts, and they liked it. So it was great. I think it was only me, Brandon, Ryan, and Devin at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it all happened so fast. It like I did not see this coming at all. But it's like I've kept this in my head for so long, but I think this is gonna be like bigger than like this is gonna be bigger than the iArtist murder. If we're going in the direction that we're going, if we keep going like this, then it is.
And I think I don't know about that statement, but I definitely think there's a lot of big things in your guys' future because of, one, the age of you guys, you being as young as you are, and I've already heard some stuff, man, because Brandon hooks me up with little previews here and there, and I truly think you guys are about to change what heavy actually means. You know what I'm saying? Because Devin is just... He's not of this world, and you are right. He is God tier on vocals. He, there's, as myself as a vocalist, there's times where I'll hear vocals and I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's so good. What is even the point of trying to be a vocalist? Devin was the first person to make me question, should I even try to continue to do vocals?
Yeah, he's insane. Like it's like he has like volume, but he also has like versatility. So like he has like 10 different techniques that he can just throw into one song, and it's so incredible to just like every time I hear like a new song, like every time I hear like a new song or like a new song that has vocals on it, I'm just like, oh my God, and I can't stop listening to it.
Yeah, man, he provides something different, and I think, Brandon brings something to his musicianship that I also think is something that is helpful for you guys, because he's so dedicated. And it sounds like yourself, Leo, you sound like you're very dedicated to what you're doing, and you're, really expanding your mind, and you're also giving them probably a diversity and a versatile that they don't really see coming, for the simple fact is you're not from, what you would call a traditional background of this kind of music, so you can kind of expand the sound, if you will. And I think that because there's so much talent, the age you guys are, there's some big chances for you guys to really just put a stamp on heavy music that I don't think anybody's ready for yet. And I keep saying this to anybody who will listen. Worm Shepard, get on the train now, because when they fucking blow up, man, you're going to be like, God damn, I heard so much about this band and I wasn't believing it. Like, seriously, man, I'm very excited to hear the record when it's all complete and done. How are you feeling about the process of working with people that you're not necessarily in a room with? How is that process?
It's weird, but it's like endearing at the same time, because like I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen someone like write strings like Brandon before. He's really good at because he sent me this clip of this like thing that he was working on for it, and I was just like, oh my God, like you can't like pin it onto like a certain band sound. Like it's its own thing, which is what really makes it special.
Yeah, no.
And then then like no problem. And then like writing wise, like I don't know if any of the guys have told you about this, or I don't know if I'm allowed. Well, I could probably say it, but I told Devin that I know how to like play guitar and like songwrite maybe a month or a month and a half ago from now. And I was just like, yeah, I know how to do all this stuff, because there's a song for my side project that I wrote when I was 15 or 14, and it's called like Necromancer or something like that. And he was like, dude, if Jonah wrote this, he could help us out. And I was like, no, I wrote that. And he was like, what? And I explained to him, yeah, like I wrote all the strings and whatnot, and like all the guitars and whatnot. So what I really do is I sit at my computer and I write. So like it takes me maybe, like if I have all the ideas flowing, it could take me maybe a day to come up with like a full song orchestration and etc. And then working with the other guys in terms of writing songs, it's like we're all like collaborating on everything and like sending each other ideas. Yeah. So it's really just smooth sailing. There's no like rough patches that we have to like go through.
No, and that's the when you're working with Brandon, man, he is great with the ideas. I remember when me and Brandon write, it's weird, it's scary. It's like a single mind. It's almost like we can pick each other's thoughts out of each other's brain and kind of be like, oh, we'll try this, or you should do this, or you should do that, and that's kind of like when me and Brandon do write together, like, and right now, we haven't really had, time to do that, with quarantining and all that good stuff. But a lot of times when Brandon sends me an idea for something that me or him might be working on, usually in this is from my perspective, I don't have any type of music inclined. All I know how to do is sing. That's it, man. I don't know how to play notes. Like I've said before, I've tried to call myself playing bass and sucked at it hard. And so I don't have any type of classic training or any type of understanding of music, but I understand rhythms. I understand how they make me feel. I understand song structures in some aspects, even though it may be difficult for me to explain. But something about what Brandon does when you're working with him, he almost takes you to a new level. You know, like you can hear what he's doing and you're like, oh man, if you went in this direction, yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you go in this direction, man, it would really just sweeten whatever we're doing right now, man. And he's just, once again, like I said, there is a talent in this band that is just undeniable. You guys are the 92 Olympic team, dream team with Michael Jordan, man. You guys are just literally blowing everybody out by 30. You know what I'm saying? You guys are like fucking amazing when it comes to the talent scale. So, and it sounds like you guys are collaborating very well in that aspect, not being in the same state, being in the same room. So that's cool. And obviously you guys started doing this before we had all this Corona craziness, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we started doing this. I think we started writing for it maybe in like March or February.
Yeah, so just a little bit before.
Yeah, so I wasn't as active. Like I was still writing drums, but it would take me longer because I didn't know like exactly how I wanted to like write them, because I didn't know how to like shoot out rapid fire ideas at that time like I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's crazy how fast we've like written this whole album. It's like I think probably like 3-4 months. And it sometimes takes like bands like 2 years to write an album.
Yeah, you're definitely not. You're not lying about that. But what happens is when you guys all have a same common goal, it's a lot easier to flow those ideas out there, and you guys kind of just, you know, from one rhythm to another can kind of just, okay, I hear what you're doing here. Let's try this. Let's try that. Or, hey, let's insert this and maybe go with that. So it makes for a smoother recording process. And that's something that can really help you guys and be a benefit to each other. Like I said, not even being in the same state or room, you guys are coming up with this record. And like I said, I've heard a few things, man. I'm very, very excited to see what the final product comes out with, man. So before we get out of here, man, and I just want to thank you for being on my show today. I really, truly appreciate it, man. But before you get out of here, what are some of the things that once this kind of like craziness in the world that's going on, like I said, this adjustment that we're having to deal with, are you hoping to play shows with these guys? Are you hoping to do more in the aspect of getting together, if you will, you know, with everything going on?
Oh yeah, definitely like getting together and like playing shows, because I have not played a show in so long. And it's like, it's one thing to actually, it's one thing to like sit in the room and write like a 7-minute song, but it's another thing to actually go up on a stage and play it. Like there's like so many things that go into it. There's like attitude when you get up on stage. There's presence. There's like how hard you actually play. Mm-hmm. It's like it's such like a different experience. So I think shows are not going to be back until maybe around 2022 or like late 2021. So until that time comes around, I'll be lying in wait.
Yeah, man, and I definitely am looking forward to seeing you guys all together as a single unit, killing it on stage. But man, Leo, thanks for coming on my show today, man. I really appreciate your time, man, and I hope everything continues to go well for you, man. All right.
Same for you, dude.
I appreciate it, brother.
You're a nice dude.
Thanks, man. You know, I get that a lot sometimes. I get that, and then I appreciate it, man. If you talk to my wife, I'm sure she feels otherwise about it. But thanks, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right.